If you are a financial advisor working with doctor clients, you know that you build business relationships with doctors differently than you build business relationships with executives or business owners. Today, you will take away the 10 laws of physician engagement. Welcome to the Engaging Doctors podcast. If you're a financial advisor who wants to accelerate your business growth by attracting, engaging, and serving more doctor clients, you are in the right place. I'm Dr. Vicki Rackner, your host. I'm a retired surgeon who has spent the past 15 years helping financial advisors crack the physician code and reach the doctors who want and need their help. So let's dive in. We live in a world in which the law of gravity helps predict outcomes. If I let go of this mug of coffee, I know what will happen. The mug and its contents will fall to the ground and make a big mess. This is the value of a law. You can predict what will happen. Today, you'll take away the 10 laws of physician engagement. When you align your actions with these laws, you'll have the biggest impact with doctors. And if you're not getting the results you want in the medical market, chances are good that you are out of alignment with one of the laws. However, small changes can lead to big results. Well, why are these laws important? It's because business-minded prospects are wired differently than doctors. So let's address the core cultural differences between suits, your business-minded prospect, and white coats, your doctor prospect. Suits want to know, do you care about my money? White coats want to know, do you care about me? They manage relationships differently. Suits compete, white coats collaborate. If suits see an attractive opportunity, they compete for it. When white coats see something of value, they share it with their colleagues. They think for white coats, wealth is measured by the freedom to do what they want to do when they want to do it. These differences are at the heart of the 10 laws of physician engagement. So let's go through them one by one. Law number 1, if you want to conduct business with doctors, conduct yourself as one. You already know that people want to work with people they know, like, and trust. Neuroscience explains why. Our brains are wired with a special cell called a mirror neuron. The statement, I like you, really means I am like you. I see part of myself reflected in you. So there's a famous quote among physicians I want to share. Every physician learns the secret in the care of the patient is caring for the patient. Similarly, the secret in building business relationships with doctors is demonstrating that you care about them. Well, what does this mean for you? A financial advisor by the name of Linda invested in a LinkedIn marketing campaign. Note, this message that worked well with business owners didn't get a single response from doctors. I recommended that she change up the note to say something like this. Doctor, thank you for being in the trenches treating patients, especially during these challenging times. Just curious, how are things going for you right now? Many of my doctor clients described their burnout. She told me that she had never gotten so many responses. Law number 2, doctors manage their wealth as patients manage their health. Consider the last time you went to see your doctor about a serious medical condition. Imagine sitting in the exam gown on the hard exam table. You might have been frightened about possible bad news. You must certainly have felt out of your element and knew that you would be making important decisions when maybe you were not at your best. Now, of the exam room, but now swap places with the doctor. Now you're the expert wearing the white coat, and the doctor is in the exam gown. So when the conversation turns to money, doctors are out of their natural element. In fact, they feel about as comfortable talking about money as you do talking about embarrassing medical topics. The doctor who treats you is functioning in their planning brain. The language of the planning brain are numbers and words. The patient whom the doctor treats is in their feeling brain, or maybe the reptile brain. The language of the feeling brain are stories and pictures. When a doctor is dealing with money management, they're often in their feeling brains and sometimes their reptile brains. I was delivering a webinar with a financial advisor to doctor prospects. When the advisor put up a slide of an actuarial table, we actually watched doctors sign off of the Zoom meeting. So when you're talking with doctors, tell stories. Our signature course offering is the Cracking the Physician Code Bootcamp. Some call it Medical Marketing School. In one specific module, we help participants craft their signature story. The story of how and why you got into financial services and why you're working with doctors. I remember one of the course participants, Mike, said, "Well, I don't have a story." I did a little poking and then I finally asked him, "Tell me about your first memory about money." And he just kind of lit up. He said, "I was very young and my dad and I went to the place. I asked my dad, would he buy me the sheriff kit? My dad turned to me," he said, and said, "I can't afford that. You're going to have to buy that with your own money." Well, they got home. Mike went to his room, got out some green construction paper and markers, and created a counterfeit dollar bill. He took this to his dad, who ran them back to the store, and the shop owner exchanged the sheriff kit for this dollar bill. Now, can you imagine the delight that doctors would have when they heard this story, how this would really break down barriers? Remember that emotion drives motion. Law number 3, doctors believe that they have unique financial needs. We both know that you could potentially help any client build wealth. However, it's important for you to understand that doctors believe that they will get better results if they work with a financial advisor who works with doctors like them every day. And perception is reality. Now, here's why doctors have this belief. It's about a pattern reported again and again in clinical studies. Patients get better outcomes when treated by doctors with high levels of experience with that medical condition. So let me repeat. Doctors would prefer to work with financial advisors who help doctors just like them every day. In the Cracking the Physician Code Bootcamp, we address how to communicate your focus in the medical market with your digital blueprint. How do you manage your website and social platforms to attract white coats without repelling suits? Plant your flag firmly in the medical market. Law number 4, doctors triage and delegate. You might have been screened by a triage nurse in the ER, the person who decides who needs attention most urgently. Well, doctors triage their time and attention too, and they've developed a discipline for putting first things first. This means that retirement planning can take a backseat to the many immediate concerns that physicians face. This explains why about half of doctors believe that they are behind in retirement planning. You are most likely to be successful if you help doctors solve problems high on their priority list. Address pain points that doctors are experiencing now, like optimized practice, cash flow, or lowering taxes, or moving up retirement. That means that you understand what's most important to doctors right now. And how do you know? You ask them. And please understand the different groups of doctors have different concerns. But here's a question that you can ask. If you had a magic wand and could solve one problem, what would that one problem be? In the Cracking the Physician Code Bootcamp, we lay out exactly how to conduct an informational interview. Law number 5, doctors behave like tropical fish. Like tropical fish, physicians congregate in groups of like-minded individuals. And why do they do it? It's the same reason tropical fish do it. The group offers protection from predators. Physicians experience themselves as financial prey. To keep themselves safe, they separate the world into insiders and outsiders. Insiders elicit trust, outsiders raise suspicion. Your top priority is to be seen as a medical insider, somebody who knows the secret handshakes. As you become a trusted insider, it's easier to engage more members of the group. So let me tell you about Sarah, an advisor who mastered this law brilliantly. Sarah wanted to work with cardiologists, but she couldn't seem to break through. After numerous failed cold calls and unreturned emails, she took a completely different approach. Sarah joined the Hospital Foundation as a volunteer and signed up to help with the annual Heart Ball fundraiser. During those months of planning meetings, Sarah never pitched her services once. Instead, she demonstrated her organizational skills and attention to detail and genuine commitment to the cause. The cardiologists on the committee got to see her values in actions rather than hear about them in a sales pitch. At the event itself, 3 different physicians approached her and asked about her work. One of the cardiologists, who later became her client, said, "You're not like the other financial advisors who just want my business." Well, within 6 months, she had 7 new cardiologist clients, all referrals within that group. So identify where the physicians you want to work with naturally congregate. Is it a medical society or a hospital committee or a research foundation or even a golf course? Find a genuine way to contribute your time and talents in that space without directly selling your services. Next, doctors want to work with experts, not sales reps. Consider this. Every time you get a prescription, 3 stakeholders are involved: the physician who prescribes the medication, the pharmacist who distributes that medication, and the pharmaceutical company that manufactures the medication. Whom do you trust most to represent your best interests? Who will put your interests above their own? Doctors do not want to get their financial advice from a vendor trying to sell them something. They want advice from a trusted advisor who understands them and cares about their needs. Master the mental handshake. Show that you are not armed with a sales pitch. Establish expertise by delivering value at every encounter. Show doctors that you can help them by regularly distributing helpful content. Law number 7. The most influential person in a doctor's life is another doctor. When a doctor says something about you, other doctors listen. Doctors trust other doctors. Get doctors to open the red velvet rope for you. Tell stories about other doctors. Create a doctor advisory board and inspire doctors to toot your horn for you. If you deliver a talk, invite a doctor to introduce you or even co-deliver a presentation. Let me give you an example. I was invited to fly out and deliver a talk at a dinner meeting a financial advisor hosted for doctors. I spoke, and then he spoke. One doctor said, I get invited to these dinner meetings all the time, and I usually just recycle the invitation. The reason that I came tonight is that you don't hear doctors talking about finances often. The doctors in the audience knew that I was not armed with a sales pitch. Law number 8, doctors need repeated exposure to a message before they take action. Doctors tend to be very conservative people. There's this idea about a standard of care, what a reasonably prudent physician would do within that community. That means that doctors are always looking at what others are doing, and doctors want to be somewhere in the middle of the pack. One of my mentors told me, don't be the first person or the last person to prescribe a new medication. Be somewhere in the middle. And doctors know that there are consequences for jumping onto bandwagons. You might have heard about the tragic thalidomide story. In the 60s, this medication was prescribed to pregnant women to treat their morning sickness. OBs jumped on the bandwagon. That is until they started delivering newborns with severe limb defect. Imagine being one of those doctors who jumped on the thalidomide bandwagon. Doctors know that any intervention, whether it's a medical intervention or an investment, has the possibility to both help and harm. Doctors want to make safe choices. So the data shows that doctors often need to be exposed to a marketing message 7 to 10 times before they take action. And this has nothing to do with your skill as a financial advisor. This is about the natural behavior of doctors. Be patient. Doctors will move forward at their own pace. Build your doctor list and regularly deliver high-value content. Implement smart automated digital drip marketing funnels. Law number 9, doctors like boxes. As an expert, you understand complexities. However, you are most persuasive when you make things simple. I regularly speak with top-performing financial advisors and ask, what's your secret to success? I remember somebody who said to me, as you can see by my gray hair, I've been around a while. I used to park myself in the hospital cafeteria and approach the young doctors about disabilities. Break through complexity and keep things simple. Tell doctors what they need to know to inspire them to take action. Simplify your messages and processes. Make it easy to do business with you. When I operated on my patients, I would have an informed consent conversation. I would tell them the things that they wanted and needed to know. Where the incision would be, how we'd manage postoperative pain, how long the recovery would be. I did not talk about the suture material. As you speak with doctor prospects, ask yourself, am I talking about the incision or the suture material? I want to share a perfect example of this law in action. One of our coaching clients, Michelle, was struggling to explain complex tax advantage retirement strategies to her physician prospects. Her presentations were comprehensive with multiple slides showing various scenarios and projections. Despite her expertise, doctors were not moving forward. We worked together to completely redesign her approach. I helped her develop her diagnostic test of tax efficiencies. Doctors would then score themselves. Then she told stories about how doctors moved up the retirement tax ladder. The results were immediate. The very next prospect meeting ended with a signed agreement. She said, the doctor told me, for once I didn't feel like someone was trying to impress me with how much they knew, but rather trying to help me understand what I needed to know. Take your most common financial planning recommendation for doctors and create a simple one-page flow chart or diagnostic test. Remember, your goal is not to showcase all of your knowledge, but to present information in a way that makes it easy for doctors to make decisions. Law number 10, doctors are people. As you begin working with doctors, you may be struck by the ways in which engaging them is different than engaging your business-minded clients. However, once you build the relationship with doctors, you'll discover that they're just like any other client. They want to experience success. They want the best for their children. They want to hold out hope for a bright tomorrow. Working with doctors is like recharging your laptop in Europe. Once you make the connection, you charge your laptop just as you do at home. So understand that doctors want and need trusted financial advisors in their corners, looking out for their best interests. You can make a huge difference for them. But to do that, please become more skilled at engaging doctors in the initial conversation and then quickly building trust. The 10 laws of physician engagement will help you do that. Let me leave you with a role-playing example that demonstrates these laws in action. So imagine you're at a hospital event and you meet a surgeon. Here's the ineffective approach. Hi, Dr. Smith. I'm Lynn from XYZ Financial. We help high net worth individuals maximize their investments and minimize taxes. Here's my card. I'd love to show you how our products out. I get emails from financial advisors with this near identical language. What's my response? I remove the connection. All right, so here's an effective approach. Hi, Dr. House. I'm Lynn. I specialize in helping physicians achieve financial well-being. You could say I do for financial health what you do for physical health. I actually just helped several doctors from Central Hospital transition their retirement funds when the hospital was purchased. Many found that they were leaving significant retirement contributions on the table. If that's something that you'd like more information about, I've written a quick guide specifically on this issue for physicians. Would it be helpful if I sent that to you? Notice the differences. The effective approach positions you as a specialist, addresses an immediate concern, and offers value before asking for anything. So what's the one thing that you can do today? Critique one piece of your marketing content. It can be a website, an invitation to your educational event, or even a conversation with a prospect. Ask yourself, where am I in alignment with the 10 laws of physician engagement? Then ask, what's one tweak I could make to bring my message into alignment? I have a special resource to help you with your critique. In the link below, download your free copy of the 10 Laws of Physician Engagement cheat sheet that summarizes everything we've discussed today. Over time, examine your website and brochures and social media accounts. Do they reflect an understanding of physicians' unique perspective on wealth? Do they position you as the wealth doctor rather than a salesperson? Do they address immediate concerns that doctors prioritize? Please feel welcome to leave comments below. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. When working with doctors, align yourself with the 10 laws of physician engagement. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Engaging Doctors podcast. If you found value in this content, please subscribe, leave a review, and don't forget to download your free cheat sheet. You'll also find a link to learn more about the Cracking the Physician Code Bootcamp. Until next time, I'm Dr. Vicki Rackner, wishing you the best as you help doctors achieve financial health.